Welcome to Dino Park Media. My name is Samuel, and today I have a special guest with me. We actually have Jaye Jurassick here from Instagram. Jay, why don't you go ahead and say hello?
Hey, how's everybody doing? Glad to be here.
Dude, I'm happy that you're here too because I reached out to you because we have a very special thing to talk about. You and I have talked in a message thread before about season 3 of Camp Cretaceous. And we talked a little bit about like some of our frustrations, and we were thinking I was thinking you know what, we kind of need to put this into a video because I mean there was enough there where we just needed to be able to get it out. So today we're going to be talking about the top 5 worst things from Camp Cretaceous in our opinion here. So without any further ado, we're just going to go ahead and jump straight into number 5, and then I'll work our way down the list here. But number 5. The Mercenary plotline and Fallen Kingdom intro, it felt a little forced at some points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely did.
Yeah, there's just moments where where they brought the mercenaries in, and then when it first happens, I was talking to you about this before too. When it first happens, you're kind of sitting there going the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's going like, hey. Look at the screen, that, and you're going oh yeah, I know this. That's the Fallen Kingdom intro. That's cool. And there's that moment where you're feeling cool about it. You see even the Mosasaurus clomp on the guy, hanging on the ladder from the helicopter, from a different angle, and you're sitting there going okay, that was cool. But then realizing it, then you hear later on that it's apparently been about 6 months since the kids, it's been about 6 months that the kids have been on the island, which means that it's been about 6 months from the fall of Jurassic World to now the Fallen Kingdom intro, or when the mercenaries come to try to get the Indominus Rex little genetic thing there. So piece of genetic Indominus Rex bone. So with all of that, it feels like it's a very quick time frame. Isn't that right?
No, definitely. Honestly, to tell you the truth, when I was watching it, I didn't know it was the intro at first. I was like, wait, what? What's going on? And then I saw the helicopter. I'm like, wait, is this Fallen Kingdom intro? And then I'm thinking, wait a second. How long have they been on the island? Because when I saw Fallen Kingdom, it's I assumed it was at least a year or some change from the fall of Jurassic World when they go to retrieve the bone. Because just that one line where that guy says, it's been long enough here, nothing should be alive in the lake, in the lagoon where the mosasaur is. And I'm like, okay, so I assumed, it's an assumption, my own opinion and assumption, that it had been quite a while that they had been then Jurassic World had been destroyed or closed down or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, wow, how long have these kids been on this island surviving? This is crazy. So that was what felt forced to me. I'm like, okay, so now it's not that long. What's going on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first time I saw Fallen Kingdom, I definitely interpreted that similar to you, as in at least being, at least a year. At least 1 year from the fall of Jurassic World. But I mean, even more realistically, probably 2 years before the events, before the quote unquote present events of Fallen Kingdom, when Mount Sibo was starting to erupt and whatnot. So that definitely felt like a very quick time frame, a quick turnaround, and because even in Fallen Kingdom, it seems like the stuff that they see on Main Street there when the guy is running away from Rexy, Main Street seems a little overgrown. It seems, and I don't know, maybe because in the book, in the novel Jurassic Park, apparently the plants actually are they grow so quickly that apparently Muldoon and a couple of the other people need to actually use flamethrowers in order to push it back or something like that, isn't that
right? Yeah.
And so I mean, maybe they're pulling that, but I mean, that's never been mentioned anywhere else in the movie canon. And so, I don't know, it definitely seems very quick. And then also, the whole thing you're talking about with the Mosasaurus, how'd that be dead after only 6 months? But, that's neither here nor there. I mean, it's I guess it happened now. But also with that, though, too, with the mercenaries coming onto the island, I thought that there were some really cool parts that happened with that. It was really cool seeing like when you first see the helicopter, and then the beginning of the episode where the mercenaries are actually being introduced, you see the helicopter land, and then some of the kids actually get onto the helicopter, but then the mercenary that was on the ground trying to like corral the kids turns around, Rexy comes up behind him and smack, just like clomps them.
Yeah.
That was super cool. And then there's also really cool to see that Dr. Wu came back, and he's going for his laptop, he's going for his research. And then in that, you also see him talking with Brooklyn, and he's a little humanized. He's not a mad scientist. I mean, at least not a nefarious mad scientist. He's a scientist who thinks that he's doing the right thing by furthering his genetic science, and he thinks that he's doing the right thing, but he's just doing it for the wrong people, it seems. And so that was a cool thing. But another thing that I did not like was, the bearded mercenary dude that just had it out for kids, and then like he was just always mad at the kids, and I don't know, I just felt like that was just kind of like a dumb little plot line right there. But I mean, there it is. It happened, and well, it's a part of Camp Cretaceous now,
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with you with the humanizing of Dr. Wu, because Dr. Wu has been seen like this like cartoon cutout villain for a little bit of a while, and to finally see him like he's just doing what he believes is right in his own mind is the best way to like flesh out a villain. The best way to villains don't feel that they are villains themselves. They like the one, even in like comics and superhero movies, they're doing what they feel should be the right thing for themselves. They're not like, oh, I'm going to destroy the world. Ha ha ha. It's not the way they think. They think that I'm doing this to better the world or better science and whatnot. That's what Wu's thinking. But we keep getting like this Wu that's like this mad scientist, and finally we get him where he has a conversation. You can see it, the expressions in his face where he's like, that is right. Like, and he's when I think when Brooklyn was like explaining like the things he's doing, and it's almost like he's realizing, wow, I did create something that was kind of a monster. What am I doing? That was good. Yep,
absolutely. But unfortunately, there's some other things that just weren't as fantastic when it came to the mercenary plot line. But the Wu thing was fun. But moving on to number 4 though. Number 4, where are the parents? It's been 6 months since the fall of Jurassic World, and most of these kids are connected. They are seriously connected. With even Ben himself, his mom works for Mercenary Global, but not even to mention Kenji's dad, who is just this like multi-millionaire who has connections all over the world. Like, he could have hired his own private security force to go and pick him up. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, that's one thing that I was thinking as I was watching the 3rd season all over again, just seeing when they go into that apartment, like that really like expensive complex that they have for like the billionaires on the island. And Kenji's like showing, I have this, and it looks like a decked out like expensive apartment like in Manhattan or something,
Right.
It's not like a place that you stay as a hotel. He has private stuff there. He had a whole room for of like I think it was like sailing stuff, and he had a like mini library in there. He said he had a home theater in there for seating for 20 people. Like this was like built for somebody with a lot of money and a lot of influence on the island. And his son has been missing for 6 months. And I get like he keeps saying like, his dad doesn't care about him, but come on, that's his son. There's no way that he doesn't care about him that much for him not to send his own private mercenary team to save his son. He doesn't know about the other kids. That's just, whatever. But like his son in particular, he could send somebody out there in 6 months. There's no way like somebody like that with that much money would just presume, oh, my son's dead. Oh, well, I'm pretty sure he'd be doing everything that he could to find out if his son was still alive on that island with all the money he has. And then, like you said, everybody else is connected in a certain way too. I feel the only one, unfortunately, they probably wouldn't have like a search party sent for him would probably be Darius, which Darius, with losing his father, it just comes from a home with just a single mom now and his brother. And they don't have that much money because Darius, as we all know, won his ticket to Jurassic World through beating the game. The others were just influencers and were sent there because of their accolades or background that they have, And if you, like you said, we go 1 for 1 on each one of them. Like Ben, his mom works there. Jasmina, a very like important athlete that has like sponsors. Why aren't the sponsors looking for their missing athlete? Brooklyn, she has a huge following online, yet nobody is like actively online trying to find her or something.
Seriously.
You know. And then the other girl, oh, I always forget her name. The one that was poisoned.
Oh, Sammy, yeah.
Yeah, Sammy. Her. She comes from a family of like farmers that like rich farmers where they're the ones supplying the meat for the park, so they have to be a family that's wealthy as well. I know there was some issues where she has to get manicured because they were losing money or something, but still I know they would have a nest egg to save their daughter. Yeah. So you have all this like potential where like, where are the parents? What are they doing in 6 months? When they said 6 months, I'm like, no way. They've been there 6 months and nobody's gone to rescue them. That's just ridiculous in my mind,
No, absolutely. You have 3 different families, or 4. I would say no, probably so at least 2, but probably 4 of these families are probably millionaires of the kids, But they should be able to like go together and go like, listen, we need to go get our kids. So it's just crazy to see how that all play out. Like the parents, even if they had just done a cutaway to kind of like do this idea of like the kids are thinking about what do you think our parents are doing right now? Do you think that they're trying to help us? Like just at least like they don't even have to do some sort of like a side thing. Like it would be awesome if they actually showed like the parents like fighting with the government or something like that in order to try to go get their kids. But like even if they just were privy to the fact that the show was self-aware enough to go like, what are our parents doing, and at least like create the question, then we wouldn't be sitting here going like, this is ridiculous. Anyway, moving on to number 3. Number 4 was where the heck are the parents? But number 3, the kids make some really dumb decisions, and it's not just once. Like if you make one dumb decision and then you have to rectify it, like I get it. But over the course of seasons 1 through 3, these kids, for some reason, just can't learn what stupid looks like because they keep making these dumb decisions. Namely, you look at Kenji, and the first thing they do after they get the boat back to the dock, they're like, all right, well, we've got this boat, we've got the way to celebrate, let's have a beach day, or let's have a boat party, and you're sitting there going like, why? Like, can't you like get off onto can't you just like go like start trying to get onto the water and then go celebrate while you're actually on the open sea? Like, oh, for crying out loud. And so like that just seems ridiculous. And then there's also other things that seem ridiculous. Namely, I'm thinking about Ben throwing his little temper tantrum, going like, I can't leave, like we're not gonna be friends forever, like whatever, so I'm gonna stay here with Bumpy, and then of course it was really just to build like this artificial moment of like, oh no, he's gonna stay on the island, he's making that choice. Then all of a sudden he makes this like snap decision. No, I'm being stupid, and then we're all sitting there going like, yes. The audience is sitting there going like, yes, you are. And so like it's like this artificial moment of tension where he's like thinking about, can I make it back to the boat in time? And anyway,
yeah, like that whole plot with him and Bumpy. Not saying like when I talk about it, like I don't like Bumpy. I love Bumpy, and I love that whole like subplot. But when in the overall like spectrum of this show, it is supposedly, no, it's not supposedly, it is canon to like the whole universe of film and everything with Jurassic. That's where like that subplot just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
In another alternate universe, the Bumpy relationship with Ben is awesome, but when you're trying to put it against a same universe where Dr. Malcolm and Alan Grant live in, it just doesn't work for me. And especially like you said, like the whole like him trying to make this decision to stay on the island. How? Like what? Just no, it can't happen. Like you're not gonna stay on the island alone just because of Bumpy. You might have survived that jungle, and now he's kind of like Rambo or something. But come on, man, it was dumb.
But also, when he defeated Toro, because he had to remind everybody of that every episode. But it seemed like the writers were trying to continue to make his story arc interesting by swinging, because like they did that. They definitely course corrected him. The first season he was annoying, but then second season he comes back and he actually has overcome his fear. We appreciate that. Season 3, they swing him a little way too far the other direction, and now he's like Wild Boy, and like he wants to stay in the jungle, which is like, I don't know, unless he has some sort of like condition, like some sort of like PTSD or something like that. Like I don't understand.
But
like
to add on though to the party thing with Kenji, why are they throwing off firecrackers?
Yes.
Why are they attracting noise to their boat? They're on an island where these animals are attracted to noise and sound, and lights and distress calls. These are predators that are attracted to these type of situations, and they're just firing off firecrackers. Like, that was when I saw that, I was like, that is just really stupid. Like, come on.
Exactly, and of course they weren't aware of the hole in the fence at that point. They might one might try to defend them by saying that like, oh well, they felt they were under a false sense of security because they were surrounded by the fence that was around the dock. And regardless, these kids have been able to live through so much. They've encountered baryonyx, T-Rex, they've encountered Carnotaurus and raptors. Now, maybe actually no, they didn't encounter the raptor until after this fact. But they encounter so many different dangerous scenarios. At some point, you need to learn we should not be attracting attention to ourselves. But then also, I mean, like, let's be honest, like they're already throwing the party. Like they should have just shipped off at that point. But at that point, they decided to throw the party. Why not also fire off some firecrackers to just really nail down your stupidity?
Yeah, and the thing is too, like, just because the fence is there, they might feel safe from terrestrial animals. Weren't they just attacked by a group of dimorphodons not too long ago from the sky?
Yeah, dimorphodons, pteranodons from the first season. They can just fly over the fence, like, what I mean?
Yeah, that's I don't. That was just. There's just a lot of like dumb decisions that they make that I just was like, I get it. They're trying to say like they're kids and kids make dumb decisions.
Right.
But in a situation, I feel where it's life or death, you kind of your survival mode kind of switches on, and those decisions are changed a bit. Especially if you've been surviving for 6 months. I don't know, man. I think they'd be a little more rugged and more not chance taking as they've been doing in the season.
I would completely agree with you, but I mean, what you just said leads perfectly into our next point here. So number 3, the kids keep making stupid decisions. How do they not die? That's number 2. The kids keep surviving these crazy situations.
Oh, yeah.
How? Like, first of all, they make dumb decisions where they almost deserve to die at some points. But then number 2, the scenarios are getting crazier and crazier where they survive, where a bunch of other adults just immediately get snacked,
Yeah, that's the one thing too. I felt this season went a little bit above and beyond with the situations. They're great to watch, but somebody has to take the L in one of these. There's no way that all of them just keep surviving these type of situations. You have adult mercenaries that are walking in there with guns and like trained black ops and military backgrounds, green berets, all that type of stuff, and they're just getting taken out easily the moment they land. They're eaten, and these kids have been there 6 months. They have no background in any of these type of military strategy or even know how to wield weapons, right? And yet they're like, you see poor Darius, he shoots that the dart and he misses the dinosaur by like a mile. I was like, oh man, that's bad aim. So you got these kids that have no experience like that, even though they have this experience on the island, and they're lucky that Darius knows dinosaurs, so he's been the one that's kind of been helping them survive mainly. But it gets to a point where it's like, oh, come on. Like, I was watching and I was just like, nah, no way. And I get it. It's a cartoon, but if you're trying to keep it in the same universe as Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, you're kind of stepping on some like really unbelievable situations, So
no, absolutely. I mean, seriously, like especially with the idea that one big thing that a lot of people have been making mention of on social media and YouTube is some people are saying like, oh, well, it's a kid's show. I write it off as a kid's show. And then people are like, no, this is hard canon. This is fine, But then it seems like almost in the same breath, those people then go like, but you like, okay, but then if it's hard canon, then why is this happening? Why are the kids surviving like every scenario? Well, you can't have them die. I mean, there are kids watching this show. Well, what is it? Make up your mind, you know? Because like exactly what you said, there are moments where the kids, you know, like if there were a bunch of super geniuses, you know, like this was some sort of like young prodigy camp, like with a bunch like science camp of the smartest intellect kids of the entire world, then some of these things would be like, okay, like sure, whatever. But then they make dumb decisions in other parts of the show where you're like, that deserves death. And then then in the same show you have a bunch of adults, like you said, fully armed to the teeth, and they die as well. And so
easily.
It gets like even to the point where we were talking about earlier, that one mercenary that was sitting there next to the helicopter turns around, there's Rexy, and then just immediately, without hesitation, just immediately gets. And so you have to think about it from the idea that at what point is this just getting too crazy? I wish that they would have followed through with the death of Sammy, you know, because like that was probably the closest that we got to one of the kids actually dying. And honestly, I was thinking that was going to be a scenario that would be easy for the writers to be able to go like, okay, the Sammy's slipping away softly, like this will be palatable for the kids. It's not like gruesome, like a bunch of blood or being eaten by a dinosaur. But nope, she survives, and so we're not even able to have that moment, which is really sad. But
I thought that too. I honestly thought she was gonna die, and I felt like it would be more of a drive for them to escape that island because of that. I mean, like you said, there's situations that keep making it stupid, and they're able to get out, and then they have a party, or oh, let's go do this, or let's separate, or I want to go check this out. Oh, where did he go? Oh no, one of us is missing. We can't leave just yet. It keeps happening again and again. But her dying, I thought it would have worked, and just like you said, it wouldn't be a gruesome death. It'd just be, you know, she passed away from the poison, and it wouldn't be like something like her getting eaten by a dinosaur. I know they're not gonna do a death like that. They would never. But like something like that would have worked. Just like with Jasmina trying, and then she just gets there, and as she gets there, she passed away. That I maybe I'm just mean. I don't know, but I felt like that would have worked perfect for the whole plot of the series. You know, sometimes life doesn't find a way, or sometimes things just happen, you know?
Yeah, it would have provided a little more grounding for the adults anyway, but but there it is. I mean, there's things to enjoy, but it's things that like this, like the kids surviving these crazy situations that just make it really hard for some of the hardcore fans to really retain buy-in. But but that's number two. But number one, and we definitely wanted to save number one for the top spot because this seems like the most egregious thing from season 3. What happened with the Scorpius Rex? Like, what was going on with this thing? Like, this thing, honestly, it was built up in a genius way. I don't know if we've seen this amount of suspense building since Jurassic Park 1. Because usually, like, it's every other Jurassic film, I think that Fallen Kingdom has an argument for the Indoraptor. I don't feel like it was done enough justice as like the Velociraptors, but the Velociraptors were really built up, and they weren't even shown until the third act of the movie. But you already know that they're dangerous by that time. Whereas we kind of get a little bit of that again with the Scorpius Rex. There's a couple of episodes where you see it taking out different animals. At one point, it takes out the Ceratosaurus, another carnivore. At one point, you see the heat vision, you know, like hunting down the Gallimimus, and like there's these different moments to kind of like build up its potency, and you're sitting there going like, oh, okay, what's it gonna look like? And when you finally realize it, it's everything you need to do in order to try not to laugh, because the thing looks like it's from backwoods Alabama. It's got buck teeth. It's sitting there hunched over like some sort of like, you know, like rabid rabbit, and you're sitting there going like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, no, it just, the design was awful. I apologize to the artists that worked on it, because they probably worked hard on this design. Nothing wrong with their work. It's just like what they were told to draw or create just does not work. I get that they were trying to make like something that was a reject of like the Indoraptor, because it had a lot of Indoraptor like aspects to it.
100%.
but it just had certain things that just didn't work, like the scrunched up face, like you say, with like the messed up teeth. Like, I know the Indominus had messed up teeth, and so did the Indoraptor, but this thing just had, like you said, it had buck teeth, and it had like a chest structure of like a human, and it had like the back legs were like so like skinny and slender. Almost, I swear, when I saw the back legs, I was like, this looks like a Tim Burton type of dinosaur. It's like if Tim Burton had wanted to like create dinosaurs. And it's funny because I've drawn Tim Burton-esque dinosaurs as a sketch like years ago, and it like this one would be like his version of the Indominus or the Indoraptor. That's what it looked like. It was not scary to me. I've read like, oh, it was very scary. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It just looked dumb to me. It felt like, I get what they were trying to do. Like, this is a reject animal that like did not look, and I think even he said that Masrani said it was too ugly or something. Right. But like you have said about like the perfectionist that Wu is, right? Why is it still around?
No, I exactly. Like, Wu probably would have gotten rid of this, especially after after the Indominus Rex was created. Then there's the moment to go like, okay, well, I don't need to keep the other thing on ice anymore because I know that I can at least create more hybrids. I'm not gonna have to keep that one alive, you know? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And then I think for me specifically about the design of the Scorpius Rex that really puts me off is its incredible overbite. Now, we were talking about buck teeth, like we get that, but its bottom jaw, it angles, so like if you look at the corners of its mouth, it angles down, and then the bottom of its mouth is like a frog mouth. It's like barely there, you know? Its bottom jaw is like too small. If they would have gone like with this massive bottom jaw, like the bottom part of a Giganotosaurus or something like that, it could have like at least evened out the weird skull. Now, of course, you have the different problems of like weird like design of it, kind of look almost like human. Like, there's even videos on YouTube of people going like, is it part human? You know, because of the way it looks. I think it's got opposable thumbs. Now, to be honest, I think the Indominus Rex and the Indoraptor had opposable thumbs too.
They did. They did. For sure that the Indominus did. I don't mind if it kind of had that. Whatever. Yeah. It's just like, don't make it look that way, because that gives us into the other conversation that I was talking to you about, where this is the reason why I don't like Fallen Kingdom. I don't like the Frankenstein monster aspect of these animals. Like, when I watch Jurassic Park, I want to watch dinosaurs and I want to see animals. I don't want to see these monsters. And I know that like these are monster movies, but Spielberg was very influential in that aspect, that he wanted these things to look like animals. I accept the Indominus because the Indominus felt like an animal. Yes, it's being called a monster throughout the film by Masrani, but it doesn't do anything too monstrous, I guess, to say. It just didn't feel like a monster to me. When we go into Fallen Kingdom and you have that whole haunted house thing with the Indoraptor, that didn't feel like Jurassic Park to me. And that's what took me away from that movie. And that's why I don't really like that movie. I don't hate it, but I don't really like it. And then when I saw Camp Cretaceous Season 3, I felt the same way I felt when I watched Fallen Kingdom. And I was like, that monster aspect does not work for me. And like, if you're going to create a hybrid like when you create hybrids in like lions and tigers, you get a liger. You don't get like this monster type of thing that like has like 5 legs and like fang teeth or something. You get like an animal that kind of looks like the other two, just a little bit bigger, you know? And when you got the Indominus, it pretty much was honestly, it was a Giganotosaurus, you know, with like astroderms and just like, you know what I mean? It kind of was. But it felt like an animal. This thing, like in Indoraptor, felt a little more like monster, and this one just went too far. This one was like straight up Frankenstein, you know, like Frankenstein's monster, and that's where I was just kind of completely thrown off. I was like, nah, not for me.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I definitely do, and especially with throwing it in the aspect that it can like crawl around in trees and stuff like that. That definitely added to that monstrous feel. And to be 100% honest, I wasn't even mad about the tree thing. It's just the idea that they made it so, like specifically the one pose in the lightning when its hand is back and it's like throwing its head up in the air just to do this like really like crazy roar. Like, see, the roar was great,
Mm-hmm.
different aspects of the thing was great, but like specifically just the idea that it had a little too human, too much of an uncanny human feel to it, as well as the fact that its face was just derpier than all get out. But
honestly, like if the design, the face design was better, the body design was better. The best aspect about this thing is the poisonous quills. That was awesome. That's a great idea to have, you know? But, you know, it's funny too, because, I mean, I haven't mentioned too much, but there's a hybrid I drew years ago, and I called it the Chimerionics. It was during the whole, like, Indominus Rex, like, hey, make your own hybrid. And I made one, and I might repost it or something. It had poisonous, like, quills on it. And it was an idea, like, that I felt was always, like, cool to have for, like, if you want to make a hybrid, make it the most dangerous thing. But I made it look like an animal. This thing just looked awful.
And it just had too much. It definitely felt like the boogeyman. It felt like it was 100% meant to be the boogeyman for this show. But I mean, it's not like it's kind of like with the Mercenary plotline, like I was saying before. It's a part of the thing now, and now we got it in Camp Cretaceous, and well, there it is. But with all that being said, that's all the time that we actually have for today. But Jay, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today in order to be able to talk about all this, because I've definitely seen some other people throw their opinions out there too, but I also wanted to be able to be honest and feel free to really share our opinions, our real true opinions on the show in a top 5 list. So Jay, thank you so much again for joining me today. And do you have any final words for people before we sign off here, and maybe even also highlighting your Instagram?
I would just say, like, overall, I know we've talked about 5 of the worst aspects of the show. Overall, I've loved Camp Cretaceous in general. Like, I've been one of the fans that's when it first started, I know there was a little bit of negative, like, comments about it, and I was one of the more positive ones. I just feel like this 3rd season got a little bit away from us, and that's our opinions, you know. But I feel overall it's great, because there's a lot of scenes in this series, a lot of episodes that I did love, and a lot of, like, good scenes. We talked about earlier how much I love the Tyrannosaurus scenes. I really love those. So overall, you know, it's I love the show. I just didn't like season 3 too much. But when it comes to, like, if you guys want to find me anywhere, I'm on Instagram and Twitter under the same handle. That's JAYE_JURASSICK. And of course, you can always hear me on the Jurassic Park podcast as well.
Awesome. Well, Jay, thank you so much for joining me once again. And guys, thank you so much for listening to this video all the way through. We so appreciate you listening. And then if you enjoyed this video, we ask that you would leave a like on the video, and then also subscribe to Dino Park Media if you have not already. We are on our journey to 1,000 subscribers, and we are so thankful for each and every one of you that subscribes. And if you choose to subscribe today, we are so thankful for you supporting what we are doing here with Dino Park Media. But guys, once again, thank you for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day, and know you are loved.